What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Your Real NBA video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Atlanta Hawks and what their future beholds. The season is suspended right now, but if the season does end, like the regular season does end, then the Hawks would have one of the worst records in the NBA. But they still do have, some of the best young players on their team right now. They have Trae Young, Cam Reddish, John Collins, DeAndre Hunter. But if you are a longtime subscriber of mine, then you would probably remember I uploaded a video last summer about why I think the Hawks have the best young core in the NBA. I still stand by my claim. I do think the Hawks have, okay, maybe not the best young core in the NBA because the Grizzlies and the Mavericks are looking real nice right now with their young squads, but I still think that the Hawks have one of the best young cores in the NBA. They have Trae Young, who this year averaged 29.5 points per game. That is 10 more points that he averaged in his rookie season. He averaged 1 steals, 9.5 assists per game, 4 rebounds per game, 36% from 3 on 9.5 attempts per game, and 43% from the field. So Trae Young is an all-star. He was an all-star starter this year. I think that he's just gonna continue to be an all-star throughout his career. So they got Trae Young, who's a really good shooter. He's a really good facilitator, really good handle, and he's just an all-around good player. He can take over games. He scored 50 points against the Heat, and he ended up leading the Hawks to a win that game. The Heat have a really good defense. They have Andre Iguodala, Jimmy Butler, but Trae Young was able to lead them to a W when they faced up against the Heat. Trae Young is a really good player. He has a really bright future, but you guys probably already know about that. So let's talk about John Collins. John Collins this year, he only played 41 games, but he did average 21.5 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, 58% from the field. He's just a really solid player. Trae Young's able to throw lobs his way. Him and Trae Young are a pretty good duo. And I think that, John Collins hasn't really hit his peak yet. Obviously, he's only 22 years old, and he's been dealing with quite a bit of injuries throughout his career. And then you got other players like Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish, to start off the season, he didn't really have that good of a rookie season to start off. And, he was just really inconsistent with his three-point shot, and he didn't really look that great. But as the season went on, he improved steadily with his three-point shot, and he became a really good player on the defensive end as well. He's been able to, lock up his matchup on defense, and he's been able to strip the ball from players. I remember in the game against the Heat back in February, he got like the game-sealing steal against one of the Heat players. He's just a really good defender and a really good player. To start off the season, as I said, he didn't really do that great, but as the season went on, man, he showed a glimpse of what he can do. And I think, you might call me crazy, but I think if he can continue to play this good on defense and lock up his matchup and be a really good player when it comes to stealing the ball, I think if he can improve his offense a little bit, I think he can become a similar player to someone like Jimmy Butler or Paul George. You might call me crazy now, but I don't think it's that far-fetched. And now let's talk about DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter was the 4th overall pick for the Atlanta Hawks, and he's been a really solid player in his rookie season. He's a really good 3-and-D player. He's able to, just defend his matchup really well, and he's able to knock down the three-point shot at a pretty good rate. And I think if he can just become a really solid 3-and-D player, if he can just, hold down his matchups and make his threes, I think he can be a good player for the Hawks moving forward. And then you also got players like Kevin Huerter, Damian Jones, Bruno Fernando, who all have some pretty good upside as well. So last but not least, let's talk about Clint Capela. So Clint Capela is the player that the Hawks received at the trade deadline from the Rockets. And, Clint Capela is a pretty good player, but he just didn't fit the Rockets formula. Clint Capela is a really good player in my opinion. He's like a rim running big man. He grabs rebounds, he plays defense, he dunks the ball. He's just like a typical center that just, is able to catch lobs, dunk the ball, play defense, block shots, get rebounds. So he's just like a traditional center. And, he excels at what he does. And yes, I know that the traditional center position is kind of going out of style right now. Teams are looking for centers to be able to shoot the 3-point shot at a consistent rate. But I think Clint Capela is a really good fit for this Hawks team. He's only 25 years old. He's a really good player when it comes to rebounding and, dunking the ball. He's a really good pick and roll player. Trae Young is going to be lobbing the ball to him a lot, and I think he fits the Hawks pretty well. Trae Young will be able to give Clint Capela some easy looks at the rim. They will be a pretty good duo in the pick and roll. He brings defense to the Hawks. He brings size to the Hawks. He grabs rebounds, and I think that he's a really solid player for this Hawks team. Now let's get to what I think will happen in the future for the Hawks. What do I think the future beholds for the Hawks? The Hawks have a pretty bad record this year, so that means they're going to get another really good pick in the draft. So the Hawks just have a lot of, good players who have a bright future ahead of them, and they're really young. I think the Hawks can make the playoffs as soon as next year. It might not be a high seed, it might only be like a 6 seed, 7 seed, but I think the Hawks can make the playoffs as soon as next year. Trae Young is going to only improve. Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter are going to only improve. John Collins is going to only improve. Clint Capela is going to be a really good player for them. And all of the role players are going to be good for them as well. I think that they have a pretty solid team that's going to, one more year of development, and then they're going to be a team that can actually contend for a playoff spot next year. And then as for the years after that, I think they could steadily improve on their record, and they could eventually become maybe like a top seed in the East, and maybe contend for some championships in the future. So yeah, the Hawks' future is looking bright, and yeah, that's all I really have to say in this video. Comment down below what you think about the Hawks, and besides that, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll see you next time.